the video, not in real life. I hope you're not a hoe.
Hello, Michelle.
Hello.
I should have figured you would be in here early. I'm like, who the heck is sending a notification on my phone that they are logged in?
I wanted to make sure I could do it before I get rushed at 6 o'clock.
That's cool. That's cool. I think we're automatically recording this. Don't know if it's capable of cutting this part out, but if not, hi everyone watching this. Michelle is an overachiever and was in here early, and I had to jump on to make her feel better and less lonely.
I can leave. We still have 20 minutes.
I know! That's gonna be great. I can probably do some sort of video magic and edit out the other bits. The teachers are probably jumping in early too, so that's fine. I have my trusty notebook that I'm going to take notes on, even though we're recording all of this. Oh, crap, I forgot to write down questions I wanted to ask. Okay.
It'll be interesting. I don't remember her name, but she's a first-year teacher this year. She's going to be on here, and I saw her like the week before school started speak at UCF about like how she prepared for her first year. So it'll be interesting to see it now.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say a friend of yours?
What?
I missed the first half. You cut out, but I heard first-year teacher and spoke at UCF.
Oh no, the girl that's speaking tonight. One of the girls that.
Oh, Casey or Rebecca?
Yeah, Casey.
Okay. I was so confused.
Yeah, I saw her like right before she went in for the first day of school, so that was cool.
Casey is a sweetheart. I'm gonna love her. Oh, I have a cool little security thing over my camera, so I can just go like this.
Yeah.
It's from the conference too. We got
nice.
little weird thingy.
Yeah, I put a piece of tape and I have to take it off every time I have a meeting like this.
Yes! Okay, see, that's smart. Let me see. I'll send a picture. So
it's like a little black thing that slides over. I've seen them on Amazon.
What is on that cup?
My niece.
That is adorable.
And my nephew's on the other side.
Twitter header that says Miss Acker on like a pencil.
Oh yeah, it's on my office door.
I love that.
For my grandma's Christmas every year, you draw a name in a hat, and whoever you get, you have to make a gift for.
Mm-hmm.
50 of us, so it's impossible for everybody. So my cousin made me that last year for Christmas.
Oh, hold on a second. My mother is calling. Hi, Mom. Paula! I'm Student National Education Association. Excuse me.
I have the same login. Don't even.
I'm gonna get booted again. Do you remember what happened last time?
Yeah, I I can't talk today. I have to sign out and sign in. I thought it was mine. I thought it was under mine, so I was like, great.
I got a notification that someone had joined, and I was like, oh my goodness, who is in so early? It was Michelle. So I was like, might as well go join her.
How my day has gone. I had to arrive early or else I might not have arrived at all.
Well, Michelle, we posted some new things you gotta go check out because we have some Halloween events coming up and we need volunteers.
Nice.
We need you, Michelle.
Where did you post them?
I
Twitter?
love how Caitlin did Twitter,
Paula,
Facebook,
are you in the
everywhere.
CMT? You're not.
I am not. I am actually in my boyfriend's apartment.
Okay. So I was like, your connection still isn't too good.
Yeah, I know. The Wi-Fi is going on and off for some reason. So.
There's also a storm brewing outside. I just heard thunder.
Okay.
But Michelle, they're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I just posted them like 20 minutes ago.
Okay, I'll go on Twitter.
Because, like, we have so many volunteers for Nemours, but we don't have a lot for Oviedo High School and UCP.
UCP is this Friday, right?
UCP is the 25th. Oviedo is the 26th. So, yeah, Friday and Saturday.
What time Saturday?
Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m.
Afternoon.
And I can't make any of these, and I normally go to everything. So at least there's one person. So I'm like emailing these people like, yeah, we're totally going to have volunteers. It's because there's 3 Halloween events. We always get so many Halloween events because so many people host these things. And I'm just like, yeah, our members are going to get sick of that. It's okay. I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
I would dress up as my spaghetti costume. Oh, we also have another Zoom call too, except it's not through us. Oh, I need to make a graphic for that. Ooh, oh no, wait, I have a graphic for that. I just haven't posted it on Twitter or Instagram. It's a call with Princess Moss, who she actually came to speak at the conference. She's the Secretary Treasurer of the entire National Union.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's coming on to talk to aspiring educators over Zoom about what we want to see from them this year. So, like, what budget plans and stuff. What are you doing, Kimberly?
I'm at work. Did I tell you I'm still gonna be in? Michelle, I miss you.
I miss you too.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm at.
Hey, hold on. What Dunkin' Donuts do you work at?
I'm the one on Mitchell Hammock.
Oh, so far. I thought you were right here on 434. I was about to come do this over there.
So far, Mitchell Hammock's right there.
Oh, far from
She's in Longwood.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, okay, you're really far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to campus at 8 a.m. for my 10:30 class this morning, and he canceled it at 8:30, so that's great.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
And then I had a class at 1:30, so I was like, well, I'm not going back home to come back out here. And then my class was only 30 minutes at 1:30. It's supposed to be 3 hours. So it was a good day.
How
I
was
understand.
I heard I got rain though.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you weren't there. I'm glad that I missed the conference for that.
You should have came.
I know. I was so mad. We were standing in the rain for an hour, and then they're finally like, okay, you can go home.
No.
Yeah, it was awful.
I got the email. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
We would have
You're
loved
lucky.
to
I
have
can't
seen you.
believe.
Angelica's on.
Hi
I
there.
love
Okay,
that
I'm
you're
just
at
letting
work.
y'all know at 6 o'clock, like I'm gonna mute this thing. Y'all won't be able to see me. Only on certain parts, like when like there's nobody in the store. I'm just here with my coworker and like won't have nobody, so that's fine.
You are a beautiful human being, Kimberly, and we respect
I love
you
it.
in this
I'm really upset that you don't work at the one right around the corner.
Girl. Well, I don't know what to say. I like this one though. Like we have like the tap system and everything. Makes me feel like I'm pouring beer or something. Want to see it?
Oh, wait, what?
Like the little tap system for the coat.
Why is there beer at a Dunkin' Donuts?
It's not beer. It's like cold coffee, but it's like a tap
okay.
system for it.
Likely story.
He was like, why is
Fancy.
there beer? It's not. Yeah.
I'm posting announcement things to the website, so we get that up.
Wait, y'all already recorded?
Oh yeah, Michelle and I have been doing some great
Chatting
stuff
away.
in here since the beginning. We got 20 minutes of just nothing.
Oh gosh. So who just called in?
I don't know. Who did call in?
I don't know. I just joined like 2 minutes ago.
407-620-1901. Who are you?
That's me. I'm Kennedy Martin.
Hi,
Hi,
Kennedy. Martin.
Kennedy.
Hi, guys.
So excited you're here.
I'm excited to be here.
Ooh, chat.
Yes. Okay, you guys, how do I go to the chat box so when I do have business I have to chat it in? Where do I go?
On mobile, I have no clue.
Participants.
Casey!
Hi,
Did you see
Casey.
us? Hi, Casey.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jordan, I just joined.
I love how we all jumped in early. We still have 10 minutes, guys.
Awesome.
Did anyone think of questions to ask? Because the only thing I wrote down was the hiring process, because I'm still real confused about that. Although Rebecca...
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Angelica.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Oh, observations. Can't think of anything else.
I found it, you guys, how to chat.
I'm so proud of you, Kimberly.
I'm gonna put an emoji in there.
Okay, gonna say it again. Everyone who's on, we've got some great volunteer events coming up. Halloween, it's all on social media and on Team Up and on our website. But on the 25th, we're doing a Halloween festival at UCP from 4 to 7. On the 26th, we've got a Halloween festival at Oviedo High School from 5 to 7. And then we've got Nemours Halloween Festival. So we need lots of volunteers for the 25th, 26th, and 31st.
I really want to go to the UCP one, but I don't know if I'll have a ride to go there or come back.
Paula, you're going to that one, right?
Yeah, I have to.
That's true. It's your sister.
I am forced to go.
Would you be able to drive Angelica?
Yeah.
There you go. We got 2 volunteers for that one already. I can't go to any of them because I will be in DC. And it's unfortunate because I wanted to wear a really elaborate Halloween costume.
Are we supposed to dress up for that one?
No, you can if you want to, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the students dress up, and some of the students as well.
I wore spaghetti. I wore that last year.
You did.
I love the spaghetti costume.
I saw this
So
was
Zelly and Kennedy, you guys need to volunteer. for the
Yeah.
Halloween festival.
I work all the time.
No, Kennedy.
There's also like a reading clinic that Dr. Kelly just sent out, and I'm working.
No.
I
Dr.
know,
Kelly,
it's so
why?
sad. I'm gonna talk to my boss about getting some hours off, but we'll see what she says.
Right? Because it's only like from 5 to 7 or 4 to 7.
Yeah, and I really want to go to Nemours too.
Right? And
Yeah.
we can only have 4 more volunteers for Nemours too, because I think we already have 6 for that one.
I go in tomorrow, so I'll see what I can do.
All right.
Dr. Kelly just emailed me.
Yeah, about the Haggerty High School thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to go. I used to go to that school and do the pups preschool there.
Okay, I'll add that to the team up. Just one more thing we gotta inform members about. Wait, is that Suzanne?
Yes.
Hi, Suzanne. I need to take down names. Let me see. I got a fancy thing.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I called my sister as I was logging in because I was like, nobody will be on yet. I'll just get in early. You guys are all here.
We're excited, Casey.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
We want to hear from you.
Yes.
Looks different. I feel like they updated Zoom.
I'm
Probably
super
did.
excited.
I'm gonna text my 2 friends too.
Josie!
Josie!
Zelly, you're on too.
And Leanne is on.
Hi. Everybody's like, is she at work? I am at work, you guys.
Can y'all hear me?
Come visit me.
Yes.
I'm at the Dunkin' Donuts
Okay, good.
on Mitchell Hammock.
Ooh.
And Kimberly working over there.
Yeah.
I literally
That's our
just
job.
got from work. I zoomed.
Let's see. All right, now I can take names. I texted all the teachers who aren't on yet. One of them texted back, LOL, I just got home. So he'll be on in
I
5
got
minutes.
him too, so.
Let me see. Let me do a thing. Can I do a special thing? Yes, I can. I have a sticker. Leanne's on too. Hi, Leanne.
Wait, is she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Hi, Kim.
Leanne, I miss you.
I miss
Look,
you.
she's right there.
Ooh. That was
Yeah,
my
Leanne,
first
don't
conference
show up
buddy.
to anything anymore.
That's not
She's
true.
so
I just didn't go to that
busy.
one meeting.
Salty. Some shade being thrown right now. My
You
goodness.
showed up to KDP's meeting, but not ours.
No, she didn't. Leanne, gotta do better.
I didn't realize we had a meeting, and then I saw it on Instagram. I was like, oh, shit, we had a meeting.
Okay, Kennedy, how do you spell your name? Is it with double N's?
Kennedi.
Bless.
N-D-I.
Your
Yeah.
name on
With an I, not a Y, yeah.
Ooh. Fancy.
Oh, Rebecca's pulling it up now too. Perfect.
Yes.
Shall
Josie, you're so cute.
Thank you.
What's hanging behind you, Josie?
Oh, their lights. They were long enough to look good, so they just kind of look like boobs.
That's amazing.
Don't they?
Oh, God.
They're a little lopsided, but whose is it? You know.
Okay, all 3 of us message
I
make
agree.
sure we good.
I'll leave them on for the ambiance here.
I like it.
Do it.
It frames your head well.
I'm gonna start making YouTube videos right here.
Perfect.
Start your
So we
vlog.
get a lot of people watching that. Oh, poor Megan's trying to download the app.
Oh.
You can just type it into your browser, and it pops up. Oh, unless you don't. Unless you're on your phone.
Unless she's on her phone, yeah.
Probably needs an app.
At least we're recording this, so people will be able to watch it later. Oh my gosh, there's a
Hello,
pause
people.
button. I could have paused the recording this entire time.
Yeah, you
Michelle.
It does say recording right there.
Important information that we discussed.
We've been in here talking nonsense for like 20 minutes. And
You
that's
can
just
always
gonna be-
edit it later, Caitlin.
I am probably going to edit this later. It'll be good. Guys, I leave in 3 days for DC and I'm not ready.
Oh my God. Have you packed?
No, I haven't even
If she packed, she would be ready.
Oh my god.
Not necessarily, okay? She can be not ready mentally.
I feel like being not ready ultimately means you didn't pack. Finish packing.
You know, wait, landlord.
I've got my thesis to deal with for the next 2 days.
Oh, fun. I missed my thesis. That was the best.
You missed your thesis?
I know my master's program is a non-thesis master's, and I'm very sad about it.
Ooh, which master's is that?
I know.
It's in reading education.
Casey, I hate you.
It was fun. Writing a thesis was fun.
I love the writing part. I hate
Yeah.
dealing with the people part.
Oh yeah, see, mine didn't really deal with people. Mine was it was a lot of like research into demographics and stuff. It wasn't. I didn't talk.
Jason, hi Jason.
How's it going?
We got 2 teachers on, guys. Casey and Jason. Still waiting on Tevin and Rebecca.
Hi.
Awesome. Hi, how are you?
Look at him. He's so professional looking.
I never changed from work.
You would not believe what his hair was like at UCF.
I know. I cut it all off. It's crazy. I miss
Jamie
it.
was very disappointed in you.
So I'll be honest. I've never used Zoom. I have no idea what I'm doing.
I haven't either.
Cool.
That is all right. Oh, okay. We've got. I need to add more names. Suzanne, and then
Rebecca.
Rebecca and Tevin are.
Yay! Love you, blow.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca. You look like you also just got home.
Honestly, probably about like 20 minutes ago.
Oh,
The life of
That's
my
all right.
sister.
Stay till like 5 o'clock.
That is amazing. Where's Tevin? Where'd he go? Oh crap! I think Tevin was logged out. I'll give him another minute. Who's on the microwave?
Stop cooking.
Where's that music? I can't tell the difference.
everything is possible.
Huh?
Megan is also still struggling with the app. Hi, Hannah. There's Megan. Megan, you got the app to download.
Yay!
I'm so
She is
proud
sick
of
to
you.
her face.
So
Yeah.
now we're just waiting on Tevin, who's logging back in.
Here.
Who is Angela? Hi, Angela.
Angela or Angela?
Probably Angela.
Angela.
I see Angel and I say Angel. It's a pretty name. Angela.
Yep.
Got her name.
Angela.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
Everybody hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Oh, for anyone who doesn't know, you can click the top right and click on speaker view and you can see everybody all at once.
Oh my gosh,
Or-
thank you.
Sorry, not speaker view.
Gallery view.
Thank you.
That was really tripping me up. It just people kept popping through and I was like,
I was like, this is confusing.
No, if you want to see
Hey,
everybody
but
on
y'all
that makes
on laptops, so I'm on my phone. I can only see like 4 people at a time.
Oof.
well, sucks.
Oh, ouch.
Don't worry, I'm about to mute y'all in a little bit.
I can't believe
What are you
you're
gonna do if a customer comes in?
I'm gonna put y'all down and still listen in. You want me to get the window? Hold on, you guys.
Oh God, I love
All of
you.
UCF or is it just
All UCF, Jason.
mine?
Okay, Tevin says he's not dead.
Okay, that's good. Whose dog?
Oh, that's my roommate's dog. He's a little chihuahua.
If anyone has a puppy, you are more than welcome to show it.
Prove it.
Still waiting on Tevin. There he is. Hey, Tevin.
This is my
Hi guys.
All right, so we can definitely get started then. Yay, 6:04, we made good time. Okay, so the 4 teachers that are on here are Rebecca, who is RSCHEMPP. We've got Jason, and then Tevin Williams, who has just muted himself, which we'll talk about in a second. And then, where's Casey? Casey. Casey and Rebecca teach primary. Casey teaches first grade. Rebecca teaches art. Kevin and Jason are both English teachers. And Jason, I believe you're actually on your second year now, right? Perfect. So he's gone through his whole first year. Kevin, Casey, and Rebecca are still completing their first year. They've been at this for a couple months now, and I assume you've gotten in the routine of things.
Yeah, I gotten in the routine of it a little bit.
A little bit. You were suffering for a bit there. I remember. And so just to introduce us, we're SNEA. I'm vice president. Paula is president. Paula, say hi.
Hi.
Kimberly, who is currently at work at Dunkin' Donuts and literally the only person on here on video wearing a work uniform, is another officer. And then Kylie could not make it tonight. So, one thing I want to get started is I want you guys to be able to say just a nice statement about what you do. I already kind of introduced you a little bit, but anything you want to say to us as future teachers. So let's start with Casey.
There's a lot to share about your first year. I feel like it's a lot more than you know it's going to be. But I'll start with, it's mostly positive. I don't really have many negative things. I love it. Every single day of it. But I would say one positive thing.
Oh, hold on, Casey. I'm going to stop you 1 second. Guys, everybody, if you're not talking, mute your mic because we can't hear Casey if someone else is making noise. It'll cut in and out. So everybody mute your mic if you're not talking.
Okay, I think we're good. Maybe. Okay. So I was just saying that I was going to start with something positive, just something that I didn't really expect, because I feel like your whole first year is just things you didn't expect and just adjusting to it and being flexible with those things. And something that I definitely didn't expect was that I knew a lot more about classroom management than I thought I did. That was my biggest anxiety going in, was I had all these ideas of things I wanted to do for classroom management and I didn't know how to implement them. And I started with this behavior system, and it's very simple and it has worked wonderfully. My kids are amazing. I have like small 6-year-old behaviors that you would expect, but I don't have behavior problems, and my kids listen and they're on task. And that is definitely the biggest positive I've taken from this, is that I do know what I'm doing, and that my kids have been just amazing. So.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, Tevin, what are you doing? Something you want to tell us?
All right, hi guys. My name's Tevin, as Katie told you, and honestly, teaching is a lot more rewarding than you think it is, and not in the ways that you expect. And I'm happy that all of you are choosing to go into this field. It's really inspiring, but it's not always going to be what you expect. And you think that teaching the kids, that's the majority of it, and there's a lot more to it, and that's what I'm primarily going to be talking about later on.
Thanks, Tevin. What about Rebecca? Are you back with us? Rebecca, you seem to be having the most issues. Oh. You're still muted. There you go.
Okay, look, our internet here is the worst. I don't want to talk about it. It's very hard to even just do work here. So, all right, what am I supposed to say again? I'm kind of lost, sorry.
Oh, Rebecca, we love you. Guys, this is the former vice president of SNEA. Just something you want to tell us as aspiring educators, maybe something about your teaching experience, just a real quick intro kind of thing.
All right, so I'm Rebecca. I'm an art teacher in a primary school. I will definitely say it has been the most difficult transition of my life. I've had my ups and downs. Kind of getting it to where it's positive now, so I really look forward to seeing how the rest of the year is, but I've never had the most difficult time in the beginning of my year than what I've experienced right now. But I'm going to get into that later on. And I hope you guys also take in the fact that, like, you see how all all of us talk about our experience that, you know, you may have this, you may not, but you may find someone at your school that's in a similar situation. So I hope you guys really listen and take all this in.
Thank you, Rebecca. And Jason, best for last. Go for it.
I don't know about all that, but some good news is I actually was nominated as Teacher of the Month this year, being my second year. So that was pretty rewarding. Oh, they're all silent claps. I love it. It's been really rewarding for me. I got really lucky. My wife teaches at the same school I do. The whole goal for me was to teach creative writing, and I was offered that my very first day. Going in, I actually got hired before I even started my second internship at Lake Mary High School, just from word of mouth through my first internship. So it was really rewarding, really lucky. Every day is different. Last week were 9 weeks exams for us. It was very quiet, and today I had a fight in my 6th period class where I had to get administration involved. So it was every day is different, but that's the fun of it. That's why we do this. We don't want to sit behind a desk and do the same thing over and over again. We want that the different variables, the different students. We want to build those relationships. So that's probably what I'll be focusing on, are building those relationships.
I love you guys. Okay, so I definitely want to give you each time to speak about your positive and negative experiences, something super awesome that's happened to you during your first year, something that was probably terrible and you definitely needed support in, and then we'll move into questions because I assume we have a lot of questions. So let's go with Tevin first because I know you have some stuff to share, then Rebecca, then Jason, then Casey. So go ahead, Tevin, some positives and obviously the bad stuff that have happened that you had to work past.
All right, so most of this is going to be off the top of my head. Didn't prepare anything. Not a good teacher quality. However, one of the biggest pieces of advice I have is understanding that it's not the money you're there for. It's not the administration, not the district, the county. None of that really matters. What the biggest part is the kids, and they make your job worth it. It might not seem like it at first when you start building that relationship with them, but honestly, it's really beautiful to see how the relationship between you and the students blossoms throughout the year. Granted, we're only 9 weeks in. It's still amazing to see how deep of a connection I have with a lot of my students, because you're not just their teacher. You're a teacher, a psychologist, a friend, an authority figure that they might not have at home. And finding that balance in your classroom in the first couple of weeks, whether you be primary or secondary, is crucial, because you can be their friend, but you have to be able to switch the flip and be like, okay, and I am the teacher. And being able to find that balance with your students is rough at first, but eventually you get there. One of the biggest struggles that I've probably had is understanding that your subject is it's probably the smallest part of teaching. There's classroom management, like I talked about. There's working with your administration, all the meetings that you have to go to, all the paperwork that you have to fill out that you don't learn about in internship because your internship teacher does it. It's a lot and it feels overwhelming, but you get through it. And that was probably one of the biggest struggles that I had. One of my triumphs was probably in my 3rd week of teaching, where I received an email from one of my students' parents. And I was like, oh no, what did I do? But it was a good one. They said that their student normally never loved English or never used to like reading, and when they come home from my class, they enjoy reading. So that was something special that happened for me. And yeah, I think that's it, unless you guys have any questions, or are we doing questions later?
I love that. Tevin, do you have to leave? Because I know you told me you would have to jump out early.
I just know I have a few things I need to prepare because I just got back from a trip from North Carolina, but I'm more than welcome to answer any questions right now.
Okay, do you guys have any questions for Tevin specifically? Because he does have to jump out. I'm so surprised you got home in time.
Me too.
I have a question. What strategies did you use to find the books that the student now loves? Did you use their interest, or because you're secondary, right?
Yes.
Did
So
you learn them and then?
So one of the strategies that I used was I started off with what was in the CRMs, obviously, because Orange County requires that you have to use the CRMs. However, as a PLC, since I teach 11th grade, we have a little more freedom because it's not tested, not unfortunately, but we have more freedom because we're not a tested subject area. So what I did was start off with a couple of CRM stories, find out what they like and dislike, and I've actually done Google Forms where I'm like, okay guys, now you can make suggestions about what kind of genres you like. Do you like mysteries? Do you like suspense, romance? And now my goal is to try and find different stories that go along with the genres that they like. Or recently what I've been doing a lot of is cliffhangers, because they may not like it, but I can tell that they like it. They like being able to create their own ending, or they'll be like, hey, is that it? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I wanted more. I'm like, sorry, that's it. So really it's just talking to your students and finding out what they like. Not everybody's going to like the same thing, but I always tell them, to be fair, hey, we're going to do this story next week, and then we can do something that you like. Is there any other questions for me, or?
Tevin, I just want to say hi. I hope you're doing well. It's been like 2 years since I saw you last, buddy.
It has been 2 years. I hope you're doing well too, Jason.
Phenomenal. Thank you.
Tevin, I did want you to answer something. Remind me what high school you work at?
I teach at Apopka High School.
Okay. So what are some of the challenges of teaching at a high school that isn't exactly well known for safety or, you know, more positive things than you would actually hear in a community? So what's going on there?
So what I hear you saying is what's the positives and negatives of working at a school that might not be considered the safest?
Yeah, it's got a bit of a negative reputation, but it's like word of the mouth kind of thing. So what's it like with that? Are you seeing that kind of thing?
Honestly, no. The worst part would be the fights with the students. Like, there's at least a fight once or twice a week, sometimes 5 in a day. That's been like on the extreme end. There's been 5 in one day before. And to my experience, the principal will realize that there's a lot of tension in the school. He'll close it down for a day to give everyone a little bit of time to relax, and then we come back the following day and continue up like normal. But with the school itself, there's not really a lot of negative energy that I've seen. The school actually has a lot of positive energy based on the school spirit and how they go about their everyday lives. Every Friday, it's not just when we have a game, it's every Friday we have a pep rally until football season's over. So the cheerleaders, the band, the color guard, they all come out. We have 3 or 4 mascot suits that come out and they'll start dancing every single morning from like 6:40 until 7:10, right before the bell rings.
I like that. That's nice. So even sometimes if a school has a negative reputation, not something you should totally pay attention to, at least going in your first year.
No, don't worry about the reputation of the school. Once you're in the environment, you'll understand what it's like, and if that's a place you can see yourself being in. Right now, Apopka is probably the place I see myself in for the next couple of years while I'm pursuing my master's and my doctorate.
I love that. Okay, does anyone else have any questions for Tevin? Because I want to make sure he gets to rest after having literally just gotten home a couple minutes ago. All right, Tevin, you're good. Thank you so much for sharing with us. I love the part about the parents' email.
Yeah, it's very surprising, but you'll find out that your students and the parents will surprise you. The parents are generally on your side. They don't want the bad for you. They want to work with you.
Oh, that's good to hear, definitely. I think parents are another big concern for some aspiring educators. Thank you so much, Tevin. Please get some rest.
I will try.
Bye.
Have a good meeting, guys.
All right, Rebecca, I know you have been having so many issues. We actually kind of previewed a little bit about what's been going on with you at one of our meetings. So please tell us something positive first. Then tell us what's going on with you and the union and wherever the union had to get involved in NEA.
All right, so positive, there has been a good bit of positive, especially when it comes to presenting a lesson as I see the entire school. I have students who bring in artwork to me that is from like a lesson we did. They did their own version of it. So I have like a whole wall that I just posted about. I'm getting there, about like students bringing me artwork. Like I have like 6 pages of dinosaurs from one student. That's like his favorite thing to draw. I've had compliments from one of our subs, who's also the PTO lady, say that as she knows the old art teacher at my school, that this is like her son stated, he loves you as the teacher. He knows the old teacher, but he loves me teaching art to him. I see an ESE inclusion class. It's about 7 of them, that one of their students who is in 2nd grade, he never liked art before until I started doing 3 different kind of projects in one class because of their attention span, that he stated that he likes art now. So it's exciting to see how, from one art teacher perspective of like what the old art teacher was doing and what I'm doing, how everyone's seeing a difference in the way I teach and what she had. So it's kind of nice to see all those, and I've gotten compliments from my school about the artwork hanging up for International Dot Day, and that really made me excited. So those are mostly been my positives. My negatives, though, so I never had the traditional internship at UCF. I had to switch routes to the lifelong learning because I was not good at tests. So fast forward, I graduate August 3rd, not finding out anything, I got the job, I'm getting everything done, ready, I'm excited, like I'm there day 1. Fast forward to the last day of August, and I didn't get a paycheck. I did not know I was not getting paid because since UCF was going to take 4 to 6 weeks to send transcripts, I was not in the system. I had to go a month without pay. I actually cried that entire day. My principal came to see me. Everyone was giving me hugs. My students were like, "Why is your face red?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just very hot in here." So I kind of laughed it off a bit. So that's when I immediately went straight to my union because I had no idea what was going on. I was being told I was getting paid as a sub until my transcripts were sent in. Later, about a week or 2 later, I find out that to be even considered a teacher, you have to pass like your subject area. And I'm like, what? You told me I was going to be a teacher once I get my transcript. So it was a lot of miscommunication from my district, not so much my school. Actually stepping back and going back to my day where I found out I didn't get paid, my school actually, at the end of the day, presented me with almost $800 and 6 gift cards to McDonald's because I knew I had to pay bills. I've also had to go back to my old job to get some extra hours, so I'm working every single day of the week almost. So my union helps me out, and we're fighting day after day to finally see what's going on. They keep telling him, we don't know, talk to this person, talk to this person. So it leads to where my transcripts finally get in, and we figure out, okay, you have this, what's going on, what's next, what do we need to do? September 13th is when I finally was put as a sub. But the next question were they going to back pay me from like the beginning of August to September 12th? They had all told me, like, my secretary was like, don't plan on being paid for those days. And my union was like, no, you're getting paid. They have to pay you. So still contacting everybody. I get a small paycheck at the end. Plus with the little extra money that some people like dropped off kind of helped. It was a little bit, but it did help. I didn't get a paycheck for the other days for like another 2 weeks later. Towards October is when I finally received the rest of my money. Yet still on sub pay until I pass my tests. So kind of sucks, but also technically I can't be in my union until I'm a teacher, but they opened me with warm arms and said that I can be there, I can participate, go to the meetings. I'm also hoping once I'm official that I can become a rep for my school. So kind of working on that. But definitely your union is there for you, because I was so frustrated. I had no idea what to do. Like, I wanted to cry every single day. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. Everything else has been a little tricky with trying to manage the chaos of not getting paid, not having enough funds for materials, as I have to kind of set up for 2 schools. I have a K through 3rd school and a 4th and 5th school. So I have to switch schools halfway and teach the other school. So budget-wise, I probably have spent almost $1,000 on my kids out of my own pocket already. And it's just the beginning. But it's getting better, and I can't wait to see what happens. And also let Katie know how else the rest of the year goes. That's pretty much it for right now.
I'm sorry your first year has been such a struggle, Rebecca, but I'm glad your school was so behind you about that. That's really nice. Okay, that's why
they're
I
very
let you and
supportive.
Kevin go first. I knew you guys had a little bit more negative experiences. Casey and Jason, I think, had a little bit more positive experiences, but Jason, don't cringe a little. Don't do that. But first year is always the most difficult. That's what everyone always tells us. Just being able to hear it from first year teachers, though, does put it a little bit more into perspective. It is going to be rough, but so far your guys' schools have been behind you 100%, which I really appreciate hearing about. So let's go to Jason. Some positives, some negatives. How has your experience been as a first year teacher, now going on your 2nd year and teacher of the month?
My first year was actually really easy, outside of the fact that I had the same issue that you did, Rachel, where I had graduated. Technically, I wasn't supposed to graduate till I think it was like the 13th of August for UCF last year, but our first day was on the 10th. So I had a Friday where I was not a college graduate, but I was in the classroom teaching. And because of that I wasn't technically graduated until that Sunday. It took them, I don't think I got my first paycheck till almost October, but they did back pay me. And thankfully, I'm married. My wife was also teaching, and we had saved up. So we were able to financially stay afloat. But I do remember it being quite hard and wondering, like, sitting there and being like, everything I'm doing is for naught right now. And I just had to keep reminding myself about the kids, that we don't do this for the paycheck. Because if we did, we definitely wouldn't be teaching. Other than that, though, my year was pretty easy. I took on a lot right off the bat. I'm now the bowling coach, which never thought I'd be a bowling coach. Just a tip. They pay a lot. The bowling is the number 1 paid sport, even over football. It's like a 10% salary increase. So I definitely said yes when they offered me that. I'm also in charge of a literary magazine that they do that comes along with teaching creative writing. So that's kind of nice. That also has a stipend to it. So the more you get involved, especially I teach seniors. So I'm at a high school, I teach seniors. It's easy to be involved with them. They want you to be involved. They tend to like you more once they get to know you. It's all about building relationships, specifically in high school. I have no experience with middle and elementary school, so I don't know if that's the same. But it's really neat to be able to see these kids, specifically they're 17, 18 years old, getting ready to go into the real world. The content-wise, for me, we did like a couple Shakespeare's, and I read a couple books, but for the most part, the content was concrete. We were not able to deviate from that. My PLC team, the group of 4 other English teachers that all teach senior English, they set the pace and I just followed along, which made it really easy for me because I just had to make sure I knew the content before I presented it. I didn't have to create anything for the most part. My creative writing class was a completely different ball game, to the point that I had to start the advanced creative writing content from scratch, which was a hell of a time, but we're almost there. To this day, I mean, it's my 2nd year, I still mess up. There's still days specifically in creative writing, just because I have the leeway to, where I'm like, wow, I really messed this up. I'm not doing anything else for the day with this. We're done for the day, because it's only one class. It's like, we're done for the day. The rest of the 15 minutes is yours. Study, take a nap, be on your phone. I don't care, but I did this horribly, and let me go back to the drawing board with this. My first year, the hardest part about it was the fact that I taught, and I still teach, at the school where my siblings go. So my little brother was a senior. I had known these kids, some of these kids for years that are in my class. Some of them, they'd been to birthday parties with my little brother. I'd been to the beach with these kids. So to establish that, look, I know I'm your brother, I'm your friend's brother, I'm still your teacher. And even when my little brother was a hard transition, I had to sit down and basically say, look, this is my job. This is how I get paid. This is my livelihood. I love you, dude, but I will write your ass up. And I got pretty close once. He did something in front of his friends that any other person I would have written up, but because it was him, I chose not to. Plus, I don't think many people saw. To this day, I have not written a referral, which is nice, though I wonder if they're going to make me write one today. Because of the fight, and it was between a guy and a girl. That was fun. Yeah, all the eyebrows. Yep, that's exactly how I felt. But overall, I mean, there were some rough patches, but at the end of the day, I really don't have any complaints. I kind of knew what I was getting into. This is what I wanted to do. This is who I wanted to be. The pay sucks. That's why we don't do it for the pay. We have to tell ourselves that, at least until we believe it. But we really don't. You probably will have to spend some money out of your account. They give you a little card, at least for Seminole County. It's like $250 that you can spend at a store, but they have very strict rules on what you can buy with it, which kind of sucks. Like, I can't even buy print toner with it. I've had to buy a print toner out of my own pocket quite a few times. You can buy pencils and paper, which is nice. But for the most part, that kind of stuff, you're kind of on your own. I recommend finding a Facebook page of a community, and just like your own community, and you just say, hey, look, I'm going in as a new teacher. Is there if you guys have any school supplies laying around that you're not using, I would love to have donations to the class. And you'd be surprised how much stuff you'll get. We did that my first year of my wife. And I still have paper from them that, like, I don't have to use. It's kind of weird asking for help, but we give help so much that we should be able to ask for it when we need it. Yeah, I can't think of really anything else.
You're so quotable, Jason. I can't write fast enough.
I did think of something. One other thing, and then this is I don't prepare very well. I kind of go on the fly. As you can tell with my rambling. But the one thing that I did want to bring up is, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the marigold effect. Nod your head if you've ever heard of marigold. Yes. Someone, yeah, you know what it is. No? Well, don't worry, I'll explain it. A marigold is a flower that grows, obviously, in a garden. You can be a marigold, or you could be what's called a walnut. Now I'll explain walnut first. When a walnut is sprouting and it's growing, the roots suck out all the nutrients from the floor that it's the ground that it's planted in, and it kills everything else around it. So everything around a walnut dies, while a marigold, which is the flower, it actually enriches the soil and feeds everything else around it. And I was told my first year, and it really stuck with me, focus your hardest on being a marigold. It's going to be tough. It's going to be rough, but no one likes negative Nancy's when it comes down to it. And you want to uplift each other. Don't bring other teachers down. Try to be uplifting for them. Try to encourage them. Yeah, I'm sure Casey will have more to add to that as well, since she shook her head that she knows. You might even be able to word it better than I will. But yeah, that's it.
I love this because one of the things that they have mentioned before is that teaching is nowadays mostly a competition between teachers to keep their jobs. And a lot of seasoned teachers will not share resources with aspiring educators or new teachers or anything because it's a fight for a job. One of you's leaving at the end of the semester or the end of the year, and they feel like if you do a better job than them, you stay and they go because there's no job security. So it's nice to hear that metaphor. I like that. Be a marigold. All right, Casey, a lovely first grade teacher, also former president of SNEA.
Hello,
Thank
hello.
you, Jason, by the way.
I was, when you said the marigold article, I was so excited because that is my favorite article I've ever read. If you want it, Dr. Spalding has like 1 million copies. She'll give you a copy of it. She's the one who showed it to me, and I made my supervising teacher during my internship. I like made her this whole like thing to hang in her room about how she's a marigold because she was my marigold. Like she helped me grow and she was so positive. And then every teacher that I meet, I share the article with them because it's so true that and the article is very funny too because the walnut trees all have names and they're like kid hating Kate and like negative Nancy, like you said. And then there's like the hates the principal Hattie, like, and it's like all these like stereotypical things of negative teachers that you encounter. And it just talks about like, don't be that person and stay away from those people if you can, because you want to be positive and you want others around you to be positive. So that is a great article. Definitely read it. Okay, so then going back to my positives, and I don't really have any negatives, but my like things you didn't know that you needed to know, I guess. And then some of my really good things. But one of the positives I would say about teaching is that you do have days where you're like, oh, that didn't go as well as I thought it was going to go, or I planned that. I really thought I knew what I was doing, but it did not go that way. But most of the days, like every single day for me, because I have 21 students, and I have the same 21 students from 8:30 to 3:15, like they're just my students. And every single day, there is something amazing that one of them does. Like there's not a day that goes by where I'm like, my heart isn't just full from them, because they're just like, they're 6 years old and they're so innocent and sweet and they're kind to one another and they do like the nicest little things for each other. So my positive would just be that like every day has like that silver lining. So even if that lesson was terrible and you are just like, I don't think they learned anything, or you're like, they're looking at you like you have 3 heads because they don't understand what you're saying, then like 20 minutes later, something amazing happens. So every day has a silver lining. And I don't know if that's the same. I'm assuming that's the same with every grade, but it's very true with first grade because they're very, very like, they're just incredible. I wouldn't really even call this a negative because I think like Jason said, like I knew what I was getting into. This is what I wanted to do. I knew what teaching was about. But there's a lot of things that you don't know you need to know. And I think that some of those things it was something that Tevin talked about too, was like not knowing how much paperwork there was and how many meetings you were going to have and how much like how in depth you need to know the academics of your students. Like I give so many assessments, like reading assessments all the time. And I have like a data binder that's like bigger than my head of all of the data I've collected on my students. And I have to save every time that they don't pass an assessment or they don't pass a test or an assignment, I save it and I send copies home and I get them back signed and returned. And like there's just so much that you have to keep, and you have to go to MTSS meetings and present your data and talk about which students you're concerned about which students you think need extra support, which students you want to refer for different ESE programs, and just you have to know your students inside and out when it comes to academics. And that's something that I was not prepared for because there's already so many other things you have to do. You have to lesson plan and have parent-teacher conferences, and you have to set up your classroom. You have to think about your classroom management. I didn't really realize how much it was going to be to track all the data for 21 students, but you really do get the hang of it, and you learn to make it just part of your weekly routine, all of those assessments and keeping them and tracking them. And so that it's not really a negative, but that's just something that was very overwhelming for me. The only time, well, not the only time, because I feel overwhelmed frequently, but when that's the most overwhelming thing was that all the data. It was the first month of school, and I felt like everyone was just like, oh, did you test your sight words? Did you test the phonics screener inventory? Did you test the DRA on all your kids? Did you give this word reading assessment? And I was like, I didn't even know that I was supposed to do that. But I have an incredible team who has kept me right in the loop every step of the way. And I've also had another really positive thing that's come out of this. My team was that very similar to you, Jason. They have this year mapped out. They know exactly what they're teaching, when they're teaching it, and they shared everything with me. They have volunteers who come in and make their crafts for all the kids, and everything is planned. And so all I have to do is make it work for my students. And I don't do everything exactly the same. I did for the first few weeks because it was just I don't even know. I can't even breathe right now, so I'm just going to do what you're doing. But then I feel like in the past few weeks, I've really become my own, where I have done a lot of unique things that my team isn't doing, but I know that my kids need and that I want to try. One thing Dr. Spalding told me to share it with you all. I was just texting her. She gave me these bags, and I didn't know, I wanted to do independent reading bags for my kids, but I didn't know how to do it. And it took me a while to get my brain wrapped around it. And I finally put them together this weekend. And so I have a picture. I don't know how well you can see it, but these are the bags. They're hanging in my classroom. And so I have in my independent reading bags, they have little labels on them that tell them, because my biggest struggle was I don't want to tell kids what level of book they have to read, but that's kind of impossible when they're 6 years old and they can't read. You can't let a kid pick up any book because they're not going to benefit from it in their reading level. So I made little labels that tell them which bins they have to go to, and then they have some books that are just free choice books. And so they filled their bins today, and that's something, or their bags today, and that's something that no one on my team has done. So it was something I had to think of on my own and just come up with. But and then something that was really amazing that happened today, one of my triumphs and my best moments was I actually wrote an undergraduate thesis on diversity in children's literature and how your library should be a window and a mirror for your students. So they should be able to see themselves represented in books, and they should be able to see other cultures represented in books and learn about other people. And today was the first day that my kids were filling their bags. And one of my little girls, I have an African-American student, and she was filling her bag, and she filled it with the story of Ruby Bridges and then another story called Under the Sun. And that's a story about African-American culture. And she was hugging the Ruby Bridges book to her chest and came running up to me, and she said, "Miss LaValle, she looks just like me." And I was about to cry. I was this is the whole point of reading. And so I was I sat with her and we read it together, and it was amazing. So that was one of my best moments. But I feel like I've said a lot of very random things. So that's just, my experience has been very positive so far. There's definitely a lot that it's hard to prepare for, that you don't know until you're in there and you're responsible for it. It's a lot of stress to be responsible for those kids growing, the growth that they need in 1 year's time, and then being ready for second grade. And I'm so nervous that they're going to get to second grade and they're not going to be ready, and they're going to be oh, they had LaValle last year. But I tell myself every day that they are learning from me. I'm doing a good job. So, but that it is very stressful. It's very overwhelming, but it's worth it every second of every day. There's not a single day where I leave thinking I need to pick another job. I never think that. I'm always this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life. I love it so much. So that's basically it.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, so before we get into question and answers, I would love if the three of you could give us some sort of classroom technique or something you've used in your classroom that you think we should definitely know about or use in our classrooms. Maybe a management idea, some sort of decoration thing, some sort of book bin, anything you think we should definitely use because it's been working very well for you. And I can give you guys a minute unless one of you is ready.
I mean, I feel like I have a lot of things that I think you should definitely do because I set up my classroom and then the first month of school was just every single day. I was like, well, that is not going to work ever again. And I would move desks around. I was like, and that is not going to work ever again. Like for every day for like a month. So, and now I feel like we're finally in a good groove of like my classroom flows well, like their word work center is set up well. And they're like, they know where to go for writing. They know what to do, like when they're independent. I feel like the best like technique that I use would be that I do not do a color system or a clip chart, which this is a very primary thing. If you are an elementary education major, you've heard of like clip charts and color systems for behavior. I do not do that. I think it's embarrassing. I think it's not good for their self-esteem to see their color changing. I don't want them to go home sad because they talked out once and now they're on yellow and not green. And like, I just don't, that's not me at all. So my behavior system is completely positive based. I don't like, it's like if you look up PBS, like that's what I do. Like it's all like words and positive reinforcement. And it works very, very well. And most of mine is just about building relationships. Like I know everything about as much as I can about them. And then they trust me and I trust them, and that's what it's mostly based off of. But I also don't do anything negative. Like it's all like, we do SOAR tickets at my school. I teach at Rainbow Elementary. I never said that. I'm so sorry. I teach at Rainbow Elementary School in Seminole County. The SOAR tickets are like, you earn a SOAR ticket when you're caught doing good. So all of my things are like, you earn SOAR tickets. If you have enough by Friday, you go to the treasure box. If not, we can have a talk about why you didn't get enough and what you can do next time to earn more. And then I do like table points for their tables. We do class rewards. So it's all positive behavior management. And that has worked tremendously for me. Like I would recommend that over doing any of the color charts or clip charts or anything like that. If it works for you, it works for you, but I don't think it's beneficial in the long run for those kids. So
I actually agree with that, with the whole clip chart thing, because I have a friend who posted this on Facebook a little bit ago and told me to never do it in my classroom, not understanding I was going to teach secondary. But still, he said that they had ladybugs when he was in kindergarten, and they used to move the ladybugs from point B all the way down to red. And he wasn't talking one time, but his friend was, and his teacher blamed him, and he lost his ladybug perfect record and decided, screw it, the rest of the semester, I'm going to be as bad as possible. I lost my green ladybug record.
Still remembers that. And so, like, that was a big impact on him that his ladybug moved. And I'm not going to move somebody's ladybug and ruin the rest of their life. Like you see tweets about it still, like, oh, I hated this teacher because she made me flip my color to red. And I was like, I'm never going to do that to a child, ever. I want them to remember me because they loved me, not because I made them move their ladybug.
Exactly. Thank you, Casey. Jason, do you use any treasure boxes or anything in high school? Because I would like to know.
I do not. Hey, just a heads up, I am at 11% on my computer, so it might die on me. I will go until it dies. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. If it just cuts out on me, just know I'm okay, but my computer is not. It is like 15 years old. Feels like, at least. I do not use anything like that. I had something to say. And it kind of, the one thing that I have used, though, is just treating them with respect. I guess it kind of goes a little more for me because they are 17, 18 years old. I treat them like adults. They're grown-ass kids. They're practically adults. Some of them are 19 years old. I had a 20-year-old last year. Yeah. But you don't learn from someone you don't like. And that is why I've never written a referral. Sure, there were times where I probably should have written a referral. But you don't learn from someone who writes referrals. You don't learn from someone you don't like. So they'll say, oh, you just want to be liked. Well, yeah, you want to be liked. That's how they're going to respect you and accept you as they're not only as their teacher, but as their mentor. And, one day as their friend. I have students now who I taught honors last year with them, and I proofread one of their college papers at FSU a couple weeks ago. She had messaged me on Instagram and asked me if I would. I did have a rule: we are not friends on Instagram until graduation. So wasn't being creepy, I promise. But yeah, I mean, just treat them with respect. Treat them the way you'd want to. And I think that's something that we all can agree we might not have had in high school. And the teachers who we did not like, it's because they treated us like crap. They didn't treat us the way they'd want to be treated. I'm already at 8%. So if we could do the questionnaire right now, that'd be great. That way I don't have to necessarily dip. I hate to cut in front of someone, but
I'll let Rebecca go in a second. Does anyone have any questions for Jason specifically? He teaches high school. He's very quotable. I'm writing down a lot of what he's saying. And he's been at this for a year and a half now. So if anyone has any questions, go for it. Nobody? Because I'm going to go if y'all don't. Okay, I definitely wanted to ask you about, if you don't write referrals, what kind of discipline do you use in your classroom?
Restorative practice is usually what I go for, which I noticed Tevin used actually an aspect of it in this conversation already. When you had said something to him and he reiterated it in another way to confirm that is exactly what you were asking. That little things like that, but positive reinforcement really helps. Typically, I just tell them I don't want to handle it. I don't want to deal with it. And I even had someone after that fight today. One of the boys the boy who got in the fight with the girl came back and apologized. He said, "You don't need to be apologizing to me." He's like, "No, but like I disrespected your classroom. And I'm sorry for that. That should not have happened in here. It should not have happened at all." But again, it also comes down to building relationships. Once again, it's all about those relationships. If they like you, if they want to do well in your class, they're not going to cut off as much. I did in my second period this year is my worst period. I don't know if you know what a vuvuzela is, but it is one of the horns that they use at the soccer World Cups. And it is this big long horn that you blow into. They are super loud. And I just got tired of like yelling. So I bring that in and I wear it around my shoulder like it's kind of like a weapon almost. And there's been multiple times where I've had to they won't shut up. So I whip that bad boy out and blow it and they all get quiet to the point that like they make jokes about it now. So you can find other ways to calm them down, to resituate your environment. That's kind of fun and engaging. They all think it's hilarious. My neighbor next door to me hears it sometimes. I'll poke in and start laughing about it. He's got a master key. We keep all doors locked. But yeah, that's about it. Restorative practices.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jason.
No problem. It was nice meeting you all. Good luck in your endeavors.
I'm
not going to be here for Rachel. I probably won't be here for yours because I'm at 1% now. So good luck.
Bye. Okay, Rebecca, on to you. So, teaching techniques, any management, any sort of classroom decoration, any cool thing you want to share, because you are an art teacher. You deal with kids who've got paint and access to scissors and other dangerous things. So, what kind of advice can you give some of the primary, your mic is off, Rebecca, but what kind of advice can you give to some of the primary educators here? Because only Paula and I are secondary.
Girl, don't even get me started on scissors.
There he goes.
I've already had a haircut incident.
Scissors are terrible. I've had.
Anyway, but speaking of art, I'm actually doing some right now, so. Because, 5th grade has tag art, which is a fundraiser for me, which is great. But yeah, I have to do my teacher's tag. Anyway, so I kind of agree with Casey about the whole chart system. Like, I don't do that because it's more of a homeroom thing. So definitely the past, like since the beginning of school, I've been trying to figure out my own system. So I've kind of tried, chants. I love the idea of it, but it doesn't work for me because I don't have the time to move everything. So scratching that, I've actually just was pulled by my art supervisor to go observe 2 veteran teachers. So I kind of got a feel of what they do. One teacher has like chants, but for all of our rules for art, which I really, really liked because it's just all right there. You don't have to move anything, change anything. Another one for at least me was, say, I'm going to kind of put this in your guys' perspective since I'm art, but her idea was for an artist of the month. She would have one artist of the month, and then she has 4 names or 10 names that she pulls from a bucket to get their name on the chart. So you guys could probably do like, once you get a percentage on an AR test, you put their name in a bucket. At the end of the month, you pick some names out, 10 names, they go on a list. And then if you get a person who has exceeded, a different percentage but higher, or has reached this many percentage AR points, kind of figure out how you can do that one big award and then those 10 small ones. I kind of want to try something like that. But I also have like the treasure box idea in mind, to where they do something, outstanding in the room, and they get like a little ticket, their name's on it, goes in a jar, and we kind of have prizes. I'm actually working on getting a good variety of prizes, since my current job is at an arcade, also on the weekends. Fun. But just kind of, get those ideas. I've talked to my students, asked them like, hey, if you were to get a, goodie, something that's like a candy or a chip or like a tiny, tiny toy, what would you want? Just to kind of get ideas of what they like, because you want to also think about your kids. So I kind of did that mostly for my 4th grade Tuesday class, because Lord have mercy, the behavior in that class, whew, I need a break from them. That's all I'm saying. Because there's like 3 students in there who really should not be together. And so one day gave them book work because they were, the week before, they were mistreating everything in my room. I was like, we're not having this. You're going to sit here, do book work. You're going to think about what you did. There's one student in there who takes a book and he's like, slamming it. And I'm like, all right, move everyone from that table. And like, it's not just my classroom that those students do that. It's their classroom during power hour. And they embarrass her in the hallway, the way they act and everything in the cafeteria. So like, it's an overall like thing with them. So next week, talk to different teachers. Always get other people's perspective, because that's what really helps you as a first year. If you don't know what to do, like I had no idea what I could do for like candy, like what's our exceptions, what's not allowed, besides peanuts. So I came in there, I was like, soft, calm voice, because I hate yelling. I haven't lost my voice yet, but I don't do the yelling. I don't like that. Sat him down. I was like, all right, listen up, guys. We need to fix something, because I'm not going to come in here. We're not going to do this. He said, she said, which happens a lot. Trust me, more than you can think. Trying to talk to them like, hey, like I'm giving you a second chance. You can get rewards if you show me you do something good. I had a candy box that day. I've never seen so many kids get excited to earn an Airhead or M&M. These rewards work once you know the students. Apparently, from what I heard, these 4th graders, when they were 3rd graders, loved M&Ms. So I got M&Ms and Airheads, because I heard Airheads are really good with certain grades too. So finding out what works for your students is really, really helpful. I kind of decorate my room during the holidays. Like I have like those little window clings on there, and the kids love touching it to where I actually had to put a protective sheet over it. I have like little things hanging around my room, and like just finding things to make your room like change it a little bit. And then they're like, oh, what happened? That's new. Also, if you hang their work up, I have never seen so many kids love how I have a board of their artwork. Once they see me hang one, they're like, Miss, here, this, I made this for you. And I'm like, don't come make me start crying. But just those little things really, really help for your students because it boosts their, I'm losing my words. It boosts their self-esteem and it makes them really, really want to work in your class. I will add on that I've never had to experience, a disruptive student in my class, and I actually had to my 3rd week of school. This child pushed everything to the floor. Scissors went flying, glue went flying, crayons, oil pastels, paint spilled on a child. Like, I froze. Like, I have never experienced anything, so if you don't have experience, you have to be ready. I froze completely. This kid has a child in a headlock, and I had to call server. I had to call admin. I felt so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I'm freaking out here. Like, but it's just those little things that, that help them. And like, you're never going to know everything at first. Like, I still don't know half stuff, but definitely putting their stuff out there is really going to help them. And having the treasure box and finding what really works for you. Like, I think I'm trying like 3 different things to try to see what I can get to motivate them. But whatever I'm doing is working right now, at least. But that's pretty much it.
I appreciate you. And I like the fact you said you're never going to know everything straight off the bat. Because a lot of times, again, teachers are going to emphasize to us that it's a learning process. A lot of us are afraid of messing up too badly our first year. And it's just nice to know that it is part of the process. You are going to it's going to happen. It's going to be stuff that'll stress you out a lot, but you move past it, you move on. It's an experience. It's unfortunate, but it happens. So now, guys, if you have any questions at all about like the hiring process or discipline they use in their classrooms, how their observations go, how prepared they are, any sort of question you have for first-year teachers that you need to know, go ahead and ask them now. Whoever gets on the mic first, just go for it. I heard a. Hi, Kimberly.
Can you hear me?
Would you like to ask a question?
Okay, my question is, wait, are both of you guys in Seminole or Orange?
I'm in Seminole.
Okay. So I'm currently a substitute teacher for Seminole.
I'm actually in
like,
right, yeah.
Oh, you are? You're far. Goodness. Okay. But I'm currently a substitute for Seminole County.
Yeah,
and like
I'm very
I wanted
far.
to yeah. But I wanted to see like how that hiring process went on. Like I'm really good with this certain school and hopefully I get my internship with them. But like how did the hiring process go
Can I
for
ask what
you
school?
with Seminole?
What school?
For me, it's at Lawton Elementary. I'm there like almost every day of the week and I really love it there.
Yeah.
But you know.
So I was a substitute also. I did my internship at Parton Elementary in Seminole County in like 4th grade and then 1st grade. And then I was in 1st grade for my like my senior internship. And I became a sub because my internship teacher told me to because she was going to be gone and I could just get paid for what I was going to be doing anyways. So it was everything that you did to become a sub is identical to what you have to do to become a teacher. So I didn't have to redo a lot of stuff. I mean, you have to redo like your fingerprints and your drug testing because it's like they need like a newer one. But if you've already done it to become a sub, it's the same exact hiring process. It's just like now you're being hired as a teacher. So
do you get more preparation though? Like do they make you take a course or do you work with other teachers before you're hired so you can figure out how the district works and how the lesson plans will go?
Not before you're hired, after you're hired. So I was hired at the job fair last March, and I went to the job fair. I highly recommend that you do that if you're thinking of teaching in Seminole or Orange. I know Orange has them too, but Seminole's was very organized. I showed up. I'm a very thorough person, so I didn't know what school I was going to end up getting a job at. I just knew that Parton wasn't hiring, so I couldn't stay at my internship school. And so I went through all 36, the 37 elementary schools in Seminole County. I went through all other 36 of them. I put them in order based on I researched all of them basically. I looked at like their school grade. I looked at like their distance from where I was going to be living and just like different factors. And I put them in order because I thought you were just going to get to go talk to these people, but you are not. You show up and they give you a list of what schools you're going to interview with. And it just so happened that my schools that I got, you get 4 schools, and my 4 schools were in my like top 10 of schools I wanted. And Rainbow was like, I think like top 3 of schools I wanted, and that was my first interview. So then you go sit and you get interviewed on the spot with either the principal or the assistant principal. And so I got interviewed with the assistant principal. You have your resume there, you give it to them right away, and then they literally hire you on the spot if they want you. Or if they don't want you, they say like, it was nice to meet you, bye. And then so she hired me on the spot. She told me how to kindergarten, first, second, or third grade position.
Are you doing mine?
And I said that I would want any of those. And then so she I told her a lot about my experiences in first grade, so I knew she'd put me there. And then she hired me. They give you a little form. Then you go over to the HR office, and they set up. It's at a high school, so they set up like interviews in the cafeteria, the HR office in the library. You go over with your form, go through the whole HR process for like an hour, like setting you up for everything, which is basically exactly what you do to apply as a substitute. It's just in person and not over the computer. And then after that, I had the job at Rainbow, and then I got contacted in not until like May, and they told me I was teaching first grade. I went in and met my team, and then you have to sign up for a new teacher training, and that's kind of what I think you were asking about. It's where you go for 2 days. It's during pre-planning, annoyingly during pre-planning, so you're just sitting there thinking of all the things you could be doing in your classroom. But you go and you learn about their not really like their lesson planning, but their like resources, I guess, because we have like our framework for literacy, math, social studies, and science, where to access it, all the things you can access on the Seminole County portal, just like all those, they train you in all of those things. And it was a 2-day training. It was very, very useful. And so it's after you get hired. And I think you went to something similar, Rebecca, right? So it's right. You went to like a polk training. Yeah. So it's similar, like every county was.
Yeah, I'll talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So kind of almost the same as Casey, definitely go to those job fairs. Mm-hmm. I went to Polk County's job fair. I went to UCF's job fair, like just to kind of, get those feels. Also, to apply to places that might be far away, because you never know. Like, I wasn't expecting to have to drive 40 minutes to my school in the morning. But I also had contacts for art supervisors from conference I went to last year for art, that I contacted all the art supervisors. I made a professional email saying, hey, I'll be graduating. I'm looking to see if you have any openings. And that's how I got a lot of info on what's still coming, because not everything is online. Understand that. Not everything is online, because I never saw any art positions. And then they're like, oh, we have this many art positions coming up in the next month, so check next month. And it was true. They had started posting them, because teachers wait to the last minute to tell them if they're going to stay there or not. So not everything's going to be online. Yes, it's frustrating. Like, I don't know how many applications I've submitted. But I've had a phone interview. I drove all the way to Seminole County before an interview. I did one in Osceola County and Polk County, but I just kind of got out there a lot. I've actually had 2 phone interviews, actually, for one that's in Pinellas County. Like, I applied all across the board, because you never know where you're going to get a job at. Hiring process was, once I got the call, I was terrified. Like, I was like, what if they're just denying me? Because, like, I had been denied 7 times, and then my 8th call, I finally got it. Also, I know some of you this job may not be the one, like, that school it may be kind of iffy. Like, I was very iffy with the school I have now, but now I would not change anything. At least my mentor told me, always take the first job offer, because it may not be there if you say, I need to think about it. Because if you say, I'm going to think about it, they're going to go right to the next person. You never know. So really think about those options that are given to you. Kind of like how Casey is. I had a tips training after the hiring process. You got to do your fingerprints, which at least for my county, fingerprint and drug test gets taken out of your first paycheck. You also get, at least my county, I got paid for my training that they give you. However, mine was during the summer. I had 2 days during the summer that I got to go. So it was nice. I'm getting paid for that. Hopefully that's on my next paycheck. And then my next 2 days were with my school, which were before pre-planning. So I actually got to experience all of pre-planning. Even though a lot of it doesn't pertain to me, I mostly was just in my room working because I didn't get into my room until about 2 weeks before pre-planning. So I didn't have a lot of time to dive into my room, like see what I had, what I didn't have. It was very nerve-wracking. But the hiring process, I will say, please, do those mock interviews that UCF held, because I got thrown a question. If your grandparents were here right now, what 3 words would they describe you? I literally froze. I was like, I was not prepared for a question like this. I was like, wow, I got to think about that. And I felt like that really ruined my chances for that interview because I had to sit there and think, and I was like, man, I feel like this lady's like, you need to answer them right on the spot. And I'm like, I don't know. Because when you get questions that you would not expect thrown at you, at least for me, I freeze because I'm just like, oh man, I wasn't prepared for this. So really, you look at those interview questions, practice. I never had practice before, but I always brought in examples of lessons, what the artwork could look like, at least for my example. Always Google the school. Look at their homepage, look at their school grade, their improvement plan. Always ask, looking at this improvement plan for this past year, where would I fit into this? Because they know that you're looking at that stuff. I looked at like news articles. I looked for my school, like the schools that I'm going to be interviewing at, to kind of see, okay, where are they at? Like, how can I fit into here? What could I do to help this? Kind of just get a feel of what they're like before you go. But hiring process was definitely nerve-wracking for applications and interviews, but everything else was kind of a breeze. It was kind of simple to get everything together. And then the training's always nice to go to because you get information. I will say they always talk about SAOs. I don't know if you have that, Casey, but since I'm still a provisionary sub, I don't get observations right now. And I don't have an SAO, which is basically like you pick one.
SAO. I don't know the term SAO, but I think I don't know. But I definitely get observations.
You might have something similar to it. I don't know. But our SAO is like, it's based off of, you can either be graded off of that. Like you have a target. This is how you're going to show that your students have met this target, or if you change anything.
We have Marzano. We use Marzano's evaluation scale for teachers. So
yes, I know some people use that, or they have this. It kind of depends on where you're at. But at least for me, mine has to be an SAO, but I don't get that yet. So yeah, definitely new info thrown at you that I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, I do have to go soon because I have to go for a run. This leaves me with a very important piece of advice, that you have to find something that makes you stop thinking about school. Because I was like drowning for the first 2-3 weeks. Like I literally thought about my students nonstop, thought about them all the time. And then I started running every day after school. And it makes you, it might not be running for you, but like it forces you to like anything that you can do that forces you to just think about nothing. Because I run for like an hour and I think, well, not an hour, like 45 minutes, I think about nothing. And I need that or else I'm gonna explode. So I am gonna go soon, but I'm happy to answer any other last questions. I just gotta, before it gets too dark.
Question, Casey. Angelica.
I am a early childhood major who would love to teach first grade, so perfect. I was wondering about, well, first of all, this is just a quick yes or no, honestly. Like, okay, on Pinterest, I'm always looking at like ways to decorate your room. How realistic is it? And like, leeway do you have? Also, because like, it's called, but like different seating type of things, like using beanbag chairs, stuff like that. Like, how realistic is that?
I think it's very realistic. I think it's just up to you and like your own ambitions, I guess, like what you want to do. My room looks a little different than this now, but this is kind of like shows my room. I have like, it's not gonna, I don't know if this is gonna work.
A little bit closer at my,
yeah, I don't know. But my room is very like, I have like the classic desks and I do like collaborative seating and I have carpet because a lot of my direct instruction happens on the carpet. I have my word work table is on the ground. There's no legs on it and I have pillows around it. My read to self center. That's the reason Dr. Spalding gave me purple bags is because she thinks my read to self center is hilarious because my favorite color is purple. So it has a purple carpet and like 3 purple chairs and they call it the purple reading corner. And they're like, let's go to the purple section. Can we go to the purple section? And so, and then she gave me the purple independent reading bag. So now it's purple when they read to self. My room is very like, there's lots of options for seating, but I'm also not someone, that's why I said it's very realistic depending on like your ambitions because I do think I could handle flexible seating because I would be very like, don't bounce on that ball right now. I'm trying to teach. Like, don't do that. I'm trying to teach. Like, it's great for teachers who can handle it. I can. So they sit in desks and then they have that option for their independent time, which is a lot of the day is done in centers. Like almost all my day is done in centers. So they have a lot of independent time where they can choose where they're going to sit and as long as they're working, they can be there. So.
Okay,
and then one more. Hold on. Angelica also had one. I want to make sure since you got to ask one, Josie. Yes. Angelica, do you have something for Casey to know before she goes?
Yeah, I was just wondering, because it's something that we don't exactly experience in internships, how do you deal with like the meet the teacher day, open house, and like when you're communicating with parents?
With a lot of hyperventilating. And no, I'm just kidding. That was one of my biggest anxieties though. Meet the teacher day, I stood in my team leader's room and I just like, it was like 9 in the morning and they were coming at 10 and I just stood there and I just cried and she just hugged me. And I was like, they're going to come in and they're going to be like, you're a child and you're going to teach my children. but then I calmed down and they actually showed up and it was wonderful. And they were very nice and very supportive people. And, on the first day of school, I read First Day Jitters. I don't know if you've heard of that book. I read First Day Jitters to my kids and we talked about being nervous. And I was like, Miss LaValle's even nervous. And they were like, yeah, my mom said you'd be nervous because this is your first year. And I was like, oh, very brutally honest with me. I think it's just very important to remember that you know what you're doing. And that's what gets me through it. Parent-teacher conferences, I've done like 11 of them. I have like 9 left to go, if that equals 21. I don't know if that does. Whatever. So I've done like about half. And at my parent-teacher conferences, most of them have gone very well, but some of them you can see the parents like kind of like, do you really know what you're talking about? Like, and if you just are confident and you just show like, I do know what I'm talking about. And I have reasons for everything I've done and I care about your child, and just show that through your room and through your actions and through your data. And yeah, that was something that one of my biggest things before Meet the Teacher was that I wanted them to walk into my room and like, without even like, because they were going to see me, a very young looking 21-year-old, and then they were going to see my room. And I wanted my room to look like I knew what I was doing. So I had my word wall completely set up with all the sight words I was going to teach this year, which now they're all taken down because that's not the way that you teach. You don't put up words you haven't taught yet. But so then my word wall was completely set up, and just like everything was like very like showed I know what I was doing. So that just being confident is really the best way. So, good question.
Josie, really fast.
Mine was pretty similar to Angelica's, but also helicopter parents. I know they're not as present in secondary education, but in primary,
yeah,
you deal with that. And parents think that their children are the best child ever when in reality they aren't.
Thankfully, I have not had a lot of that. I have the parents that they are more like involved than other parents, but it's not, I haven't had any bad situations, but I send a weekly email, and I think that has stopped a lot of the problems that I could have had, because I think a lot of the problems with parents come from lack of communication, where like other teachers I've heard stories from, it's like when the parents get upset, it's like, I didn't know that this was happening, or I didn't know that just they were out of the loop. So I never want my parents to feel out of the loop. So every time because we do S's and N's for their grades, so every time that one of my students gets an N on an assignment, I put a sticker on it that says, please sign and return. And I make a photocopy of it. And if they don't send it back, I have it for proof for my MTSS meetings. But if they do send it back, that shows like, your child's struggling. I know your child's struggling. We are all in the loop. And then my weekly emails just keep everyone updated. Like I say, like in reading, we're doing this, in math, we're doing this, in science, we're doing this, in social studies, we're doing this. And then I outline some other important things that are happening. So like the weekly emails keep them very in the loop and make them feel like they're a part of the classroom too, because they are. And every time I have a parent-teacher conference, I just really stress, like, we're a team and we work together. And if this isn't going to work if they go home and they don't read, and this isn't going to work if they go home and they like don't practice. So we have to be a team, and you have to be on my side, and I'm on your side. And so just like reiterating that. And if you have those parents, like I have a parent who sends me emails about very silly things, and you just have to respond in the most professional and mature way you can. Like she'll send me things like, so-and-so said that she was being picked on before she got into your classroom. Did she tell you about this? And then she didn't tell me about it. And so I'm like, no, she didn't. And then she's like, well, you need to monitor this. And I was like, I'm not out there in the morning when 8:05 and they're waiting to come to my classroom. So it's just like, you just have to be professional about it and just be one step ahead of what you think could be a problem. Like be proactive about it. And that's what I think my weekly emails do. And just on my conference forums, I start it. The first line is like, we're a team, we're in this together. And just so being proactive and saying like, I'm here for your child, you're here for your child. So there's no reason that we're not working together.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, Casey, go run.
All right, any other questions? If anyone has any questions for me, I know you're all elementary education, or most of you are elementary education. So if you have any other questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
If we have a lot of questions, we can always email you too, Casey.
Email me, I could, yeah.
But does anyone have anything super important they definitely want to get answered? Because I can think of a lot. Zelly, Michelle, you guys got anything?
I was gonna ask about the book bags.
Yeah.
It's for the independent reading. How often do you said you let them choose out of the bins? Yeah. And how often do they switch them out, or?
Every Monday. So every Monday is my thing. They're gonna do, the way I was doing independent reading was, it was very unorganized. I had them choose, because I'm all about like, you're not a level, like you're not a reading level. And was a big thing for me going in, was I was like, no one's going to tell you that you're a reading level. And if you like this book about penguins, I'm not going to tell you can't read it because you're a DRA level 4. So it's too bad, so sad. Like, so I was very not going to do that. But that is a great philosophy to have in intermediate grades. It's hard to have, it's still my philosophy, but it's hard to have that with kids who don't know how to read. So like when they don't read yet, you can't really expect them to grow in their reading if they're reading a book that they literally can't decode a single word in, because it's not on their level. So I was having them choose a book from the library based on interest, and then they would keep that book until they needed to switch it, and then they would just switch it out. And that's how it was working, because most of my books are like, I didn't put out books that were like anything higher than a second grade level. So most of my books were like a K-2 reading level, but still was too hard for a lot of my kids to just have one book. So then I started giving them books in addition to the one they had. And I would say, like, for read to self, you can read this, and then you can go read your interesting book. And the book I gave them was on their level. And then I was like, it was hard to keep up with, because that's a lot for me to do with 21 kids. So then I reached out to Dr. Spalding, and she gave me those bags. And so what they do now is they have 2 books from the DRA BIM, that is their DRA level, which they don't know. I just did colors, and I told them, like, I can't have everyone taking from the green bin, so some of you have to take from the blue, like, and they just have no idea. And then 2 of the, like, they have 2 books from DRA bin, 2 books from the AR bin, and then they have 2 books of choice. So they get 6 books on Monday. And they are not allowed to go back to that, because I have kids, like, when we cleaned out desks today to see how many books were in there, I had girls that had like 7 books in their desks, and I was like, you're not even reading these, what are you doing? And so they will hoard books, which is not a bad thing if they love reading, but they'll hoard books for no reason. So they get 6 books, they have to show me, I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they keep them the whole week, and then next Monday they'll get to do it without me being there to monitor. Like today I was part of that center, and I was like, that was like my teacher center, was choosing the books. And then next Monday they'll get to switch out on their own and see how that goes. But I wanted to make sure they had like a plethora of books, so they weren't just getting like a couple and finishing and then having to switch and switching at different times. So this way, whether you're done or not, you switch out on Monday. So yeah.
Okay, guys, it is nearing 7:30. This was an hour and a half long Zoom call, which I think is the longest we've gone for any SNEA Zoom, which is awesome. This is the most people we've had stop by, which is really cool. And I definitely liked being able to catch up with you guys too and hearing a little bit about everything. So thank you so much, Casey and Rebecca. Did you guys want to say any last words?
My last words would probably be that you are going to be stressed out, but it is worth it, and it is the best career. You really have chosen the best thing to go into. Everyone tells you it, believe them, because it's true. Yeah, that's it. So thank you guys so much for inviting me. And if you ever need any more advice or want me to talk on anything else, please ask, and I'd be happy to. And enjoy your year and enjoy your internships. And yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. Right.
Thanks, Casey. And Rebecca, any last minute words? Rebecca, you're muted.
I promise I'm not always like this. Y'all know from last year. So last minute words, definitely agree with Casey. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, my neighbor teacher is my go-to person. Like, I trust him, he trusts me. We have a bond. Like, whatever I tell him, he's not going to tell someone else. Whatever he tells me, not going to tell someone else. Find that person who is going to be your support at the school, because you may get a mentor at the school, you may not. I don't. It's very frustrating that I'm, by myself, but I have him to go to, especially like if I don't understand something, especially when it comes to, I need to leave early. Like, how does this work? Like, how does any of this work? Like, I didn't even understand the benefits. I had to go to my uncle. But don't be afraid to ask. Like, that's what they're there for. I'm very open to going to talk to my vice principals. Like, I don't have a problem with it because they know it's my first year. They know I'm not going to know everything. Kind of go in with an open mind, start preparing summer. Yes, depending on you guys, you're going to have a team. Basically, everything's done, apparently, from what I hear. So don't be too stressed, but also, start thinking of ideas. They did, from what I've heard, teachers pay teachers. A lot of these counties don't like you just printing this stuff off. They want you to actually come up with your own ideas for it. Word walls are always great. I have one, but I'm always here to talk. I don't mind. But you can always ask Katie. I'm been calling and texting her for a million times, oh my gosh, look, this happened. I don't know how many times I've cried. I called Mary. I've called everyone I know to vent. Do it. It's helpful. Like Casey said, find something. Mary even told me, put in time for yourself. I'm at my school till 5:00 because I have 2 classrooms. I got to prepare for the next day. I don't have enough time in my schedule to prepare for 4th and 5th grade. So you definitely need to schedule in that me time. A girl cannot wait for her conference next month in Jacksonville. I'm ready for that break. Schedule. But yeah, need anything, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, I promise. But yeah.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for talking to us.
You're welcome.
You
It was
stayed the longest too. I can't believe you're still here. Go to sleep, Rebecca. It's 7:30. You have to teach.
Do this.
Oh, okay. What in the heck is that?
It's my turtle.
Please show it again.
It looks kind of funky, right?
Is that the face?
Yeah.
Okay, I love
The
him.
turtle?
Yeah, it's like the head of a turtle. Because my 5th graders have to do tag art and it's due tomorrow. And I waited last minute to do my tag. So, yeah.
You're such a good influence, Rebecca. Thank you for that great advice, waiting the last minute. Okay, I got everybody's names down when we had 20 people in, so we should all be good with everybody. So anybody who showed up is written down. Thank you guys so much for coming. This was awesome. I have taken many a notes. Y'all need it, but also we recorded this entire session and we're going to post it into our drive, which we're sharing at the next meeting. So you guys will have more than enough to at least get a little bit of that first year teacher experience from first year teachers themselves. So thank you again, guys. Thank you, Rebecca. I hope everything goes better with the rest of your semester. All right, bye guys. Go ahead and log off.
Bye.
Friends.
We start currently where last
Kimberly, your mic's muted.
I'm like, how do I leave? And now I see how I leave. Okay. That was amazing. Yay. I'm so glad I could listen in.
I'm so
Oh my gosh.
Okay, hopefully this saves the recording and it gets sent to us. We'll see how this works.
At least you wrote down the names and everything. I'm sure it works that way though.
That's true. Okay, have fun at your job. You gotta log out so I can get the recording.
Okay. Bye, girl.
That was a C. That wasn't even a heart. I'm talking to myself. That's great.